Howdy, partner, and welcome to Booted Dudes, a Doomtown Reloaded podcast. Today, the Booted Dudes talk about the blessed skill, tutoring effects, and the story of Ezekiah Grimme. Also, there is a new Decklist competition, and you can win a custom playmat. So stay tuned and send us your decklist.
Hello and welcome to the Booted Dudes, episode 4. My name is Michael.
And my name is Hans.
Alright, let's get started. So Hans, how booted are you right now?
Medium booted, I would say. Half booted. And actually I've got some spare or left to do the podcast.
That is very good, because I am totally booted.
Okay.
Somebody played the incubation card on me, and I totally have the sniffles, and I'm sick. Oh. So sorry for all the sniffling and coughing in the background. That's probably just me being super booted. Anyway, today we have a very special episode that is not about the new faction pack.
Yeah, because we are sad German pandas.
Yeah, we are very sad German pandas. I actually had an opportunity to buy the new faction pack in one of the online retail stores. And I totally missed it because I was in the studio in the producer's seat and everybody was waiting for me to, finish the take. And I just saw on my laptop that the faction pack was out, like, in that moment. And I thought, okay, give it like 30 minutes, finish your stuff here, you're gonna be fine. I wasn't fine.
Somebody booted you.
Oh, God, yeah.
Booted our pack.
It's so brutal in Germany. It's so hard to get your stuff when it's new.
Maybe there are about 10 boxes per, like, the whole country. I don't know.
I have no idea. Anyway, we promised to record another episode as soon as we get the new faction pack, because our plan for this episode was for Hans to play the 108 Righteous Bandits and for me to play the Eagle Wardens and tell you about our experiences. So we're probably going to do this like in the next few weeks and upload the next episode anyway. Until then, we're going to have to make do with some other stuff. Today we're going to talk about Blessed. We're going to talk about tutoring effects and everything fluff related.
Yeah, you will do your...
I will do my nerdy lecture.
Yeah, you will do your lecture. Everybody is waiting for that. So, where do we start? Do we start with the Blessed? So, Blessed is basically a skill. Yeah?
Yes.
A skill of the Lordox faction.
Mostly.
And 2 drifters, which we take the drifters first.
Yeah, I think so. Because, again, they're kind of the benchmark, because those are the ones that everybody has available.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are the 2 drifters, and why do they hate each other so much?
Yeah, basically because they are the first Confederate and Union cards. And the Confederate priest, or what you say, is Felix Amador.
Mm-hmm.
He's a blessed 2, 1 draw, 2 influence guy, who costs 6 a Ghost Rock and has 1 upkeep. He has a noon ability, Boot a Miracle, attached to Felix to look at the top card of your deck. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's not the most powerful ability out there. I mean, it's interesting if you have those janky kind of decks where you're never sure if your next spell is going to work or not.
Mm.
But I think if you build a deck like that, then you have other problems already.
Yeah.
And you need to boot him for that? No, you just need to boot a Miracle.
Yeah, boot a Miracle. I don't know. I've never played him, and it never appealed to me, so...
No.
It never appealed to me so much.
But I think his redeeming quality is that he has 2 influence.
Ah, yeah.
Because if you compare him to the other drifter, she does cost no upkeep at all, but she only has 1 influence. So it might still be a consideration, depending on how much influence you think you're going to need in your deck.
Yeah, and he's a blessed 2. I think there are only very few blessed 2.
Oh, he's blessed 2.
Yeah.
So who's the other one then?
The other one is Sister Lois Otwell. She's a blessed 0 Union 2 draw, and she costs also 6 Ghost Rock, but has 0 upkeep, as you said.
Yeah.
And she's got a shootout ability, Boot a Miracle on Sister Lois to give a dude in your posse +1 bullets and +3 value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot more solid, this ability.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, she...
For 6 Ghost Rock? I don't know.
Yeah, but she has no upkeep. So I think if you're thinking about, like, starting dudes, then for me, she would be a consideration. Whereas I wouldn't think about getting Felix Amador. Oh, but he's blessed too. And she's blessed 0. Okay, so hush my mouth.
I don't know. I don't like
Well.
him so much, but I think maybe Felix Amador, maybe for the late game when you need 2 influence, it could be cool. And blessed 2 is also good, but
Could be a thing. But all of the other blessed we have so far are in one faction.
yeah, the Lordog faction.
Yeah. So probably you're going to build your blessed decks in those Lordog's territories anyway. Okay, so who do we have here? We have a experienced guy. It's Abraham Groth. He is a Queen of Spades, 2 stud, 1 influence. He's a deputy, and he's also blessed 1. He has an ability, but he can only use it in the second round of a shootout, which is shootout. Abram gets +1 bullets, boot all weapons in the opposing posse, and reduce their bullet bonuses to 0. He is a 7 cost, 1 upkeep dude. So being very expensive, I think it's most of the time a good idea to have his other version in the deck as well, so you can just replace him with the experienced one. I do like his ability. It's pretty good, because we're not going to look at all the miracles today, but there is more than one miracle that has some text along the line of, this round you reduce your casualties by 3 or something.
Yeah.
So you have a pretty good probability to survive your first round of a shootout if there is no foul play from your opponent. That's the first round of the shootout, and then in the second round he can use his ability. It's not mind-blowing, but +1 bullet and possibly removing other weapons from being efficient could be a thing. So I think I like him.
He's the ideal guy for melee weapons.
Oh yeah.
And so he needs to get close one round, and then like he attacks with his melee weapon.
Oh, that's right.
So he's maybe with a rapier, he's like a 4 stud, or with his own sword, I think he is a 5 stud guy.
Is it his sword, Evanor?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So I think he's even a starting guy if you're planning to do a Voltron type character. Like he with Holy Roller, a weapon and a pistol and whatever. No, this doesn't work. Just with the weapon and like all this blessed buff spells.
Yeah, there could be a deck in there somewhere.
I think it is. I think he is one of those guys. So the good thing is that you have another queen character with blessed.
Oh, okay.
Ebenezer Springfield. Ebenezer Springfield, I think, does this refer to Ebenezer Scrooge from...
I think he's like the namesake of Springfield, isn't he? He's like the one for whom the statue was built in the Simpsons kind of town.
And the story from Dickens with the 3 ghosts on Christmas.
Oh!
It's Ebenezer Scrooge, I think.
Oh no, that's Ebenezer. That's totally not the Simpsons. You're right. You're right. That's Ebenezer Scrooge, yeah.
So maybe it's a combination of Ebenezer Scrooge and...
It's the Christmas Carol.
The Christmas Carol, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's totally... Maybe it's both. It's a Simpsons reference because of Springfield, and then... whatever.
Maybe you can send us an email if you are more into that.
So what's his stats anyway?
Yeah, he's a queen, and he's a 1 draw, 0 influence, 4 costed dude. He's blessed 0, and his ability is react. After another player's ability affects your dude at this or an adjacent location, add 1 bounty to one of that player's dudes who is not wanted.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, so if they're starting to use like the clown I played today.
Like Leon Cavallo.
Yeah, so you can just make them wanted.
Oh, and it works with Paralysis Mark as well, because it's also an ability, isn't it? It's an ability printed on a spell, but the spell is still controlled by your opponent.
Ah, yeah.
So that's a lot of clown hate in there.
Yeah, magic hate.
Yeah.
Because they are blessed. Cool,
yeah, that's quite okay. And also he has no upkeep, so it's very possible to have him in your starting posse. Yeah, that's alright, if you go with a bounty kind of deck.
And now my favorite blessed.
Ugh, it's the naughty sister. Sister Mary Gideon. She's a 9 of spades, 0 stud, 1 influence, blessed 1. She costs 6 and has no upkeep. And her mother freaking ability is, while Mary is the only dude in your posse, she gets +1 bullets for each dude in the opposing posse. I think we've talked about her in our last episode.
Yeah.
But just to briefly remember everybody, why is that so very, very strong?
Yeah, because you can just walk in and get better.
Yeah. So you played her in combination with the arsenal, which allows you to call out dudes at their home.
Yeah.
And whenever you are alone with Sister Mary Gideon in a crowded space, it's so painful for your opponent to choose, because usually you would just throw everything in there and have obscene amounts of stats and draws.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes her so strong. You really have to think about every character you want to add to the party.
Yeah, because if the odds are like 50-50, the Lauder player only loses Sister Mary and the other could lose
some important guy. Yeah. It's really strong.
So in the next one is maybe the MVP of the Blessed Lauder.
Yeah, I think so. He's probably the most started Blessed dude. It's Reverend Perry Inbody. He's a 3 of spades, 0 draw, 0 influence. He's Blessed 2, costs 3 to play, and has no upkeep. His ability is Noon Boot. Perry makes a Blessed skill check of difficulty 9. If successful, unboot Perry and a Law Dog at this or an adjacent location. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, for 3 Ghost Rock.
Yeah.
He's an MVP in most of the games.
I think so, yeah. We had a lot of games lately where we played Law Dogs versus 4th Ring. And it always kind of ended up like Reverend Perry Inbody was in my home area. And I would just move my meanest stud to the town square. So the hucksters in the 4th Ring players' starting area would be able to boot my stud, but Perry Inbody could just immediately put her up on her feet again. Yeah. So it's like you come into this kind of stalemate where you have to have Perry Inbody in range, but not close enough that he can be booted. Because if you manage to boot him with the paralysis mark, then
he has to be in the second row.
Yeah.
And he has to be defended, but then he's really, really strong.
Yeah.
And from the second row, he can do all the blessed.
Yeah.
Miracles.
The miracles. Yeah. You give him like consecration or whatever, and just have him sitting there. It's a really good card. I think if you play blessed, you're gonna have him in your starting posse.
Definitely, yeah. And this one too.
Oh yeah, I like this one. It's the last one. His name is Andrew Burton. He's an ace of spades. 2 draw, 0 influence. He's a deputy, which could be important. And also he's blessed 0. And he has a grifter ability, which is react, boot, at the start of the game, discard a card, draw a card, and add 1 bounty to another player's dude. He costs 3 to play and has no upkeep. I really like him.
Yeah. Actually, he has the Blessed 0, but he's not so useful in a Blessed deck, but more in a a wanted deck.
Definitely. You want him to be in a deck where you can punish your opponent being wanted with bounty hunters or the new experienced, what's his name?
Somerset. Judge Harry
Somerset, yeah.
And then when you have in your starting person, you can actually have some minor miracles because you can play them anyway from the first turn. Maybe that's the bonus of Blessed 0.
Yeah, but you would have to find a way to get him up on his feet again, which would be something that Perry Inbody does famously. So usually when I played, I had both of those in my starting posse. And I would always use the grifter ability of Andrew Burton, and then as maybe my first or second play, have Perry Inbody stand him up again.
Mm-hmm. If the opponent is not putting so much pressure on you, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because he's just in to draw.
Yeah, that's right. And he's a deputy.
Yeah.
Which can be really good with cards like Faster on the Draw, which is like the most important card in my Blessed deck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's alright. The problem is he's a grifter, so obviously you can't play him together with Travis Moon or other grifter abilities, which might be better for your hand because he just allows you to exchange 1 useless card for another one. But if that's good enough for your deck, I think he's a solid choice. And that is all the blessed people we have.
Yeah, not so much actually. Or not so many.
No, not yet. I'm still waiting though because I find it interesting how every ability in Doomtown is kind of, one faction's thing, but it's also bleeding over to another faction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have all the hucksters in 4th Ring, but then there is some in Sloan as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very interested if this ability is gonna be in another faction as well. We might see.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Which one would it be?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there is some blessed Shaolin monks somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. That could be.
I have no idea. Well, probably not, but we'll see. And that's all the blessed we have so far. By coincidence, we're going to talk about some of the miracles as well. Not all of them. But, yeah, I think I should talk about one more blessed guy. Which would lead us to the official flesh part of our episode. And this time, we are going to go into very deep spoiler territory again. So if you're a Deadlands player and you don't want the metaplot to be forced upon your ears, please skip this episode. For everybody else, we are going to talk about probably the greatest blessed dude there is. Talking about his story actually means talking about the Great Maze, first of all. The Great Maze is most of California, which is where Doomtown is situated as well. So it's kind of relevant to Doomtown Reloaded because, Gomorrah is part of the Great Maze. And the Great Maze was created on the 8th of August in 1868. That was when the Quake happened in all of California. Mm-hmm. And the Quake would be there for 3 days. And during these 3 days, the earth split open and there were crevices everywhere. And suddenly what has been dry, rocky land before was now flooded with the Pacific that was, making its way through all those new passageways.
Okay.
And 3 days later, what used to be Californian desert mostly, suddenly was the Great Maze, which is a lot of rivers and mountains and crevices. And a lot of people died during the Quake, actually. Mm-hmm. And one of the first people to crawl out of their now demolished homes in California after the Quake was Reverend Ezekiah Grimme. And Ezekiah Grimme would lead his flock of people away from the Pacific coast into the Great Maze because they needed new homes. And on their way, food was very scarce and drinking water as well. And also the Great Maze is very dangerous because, there is those very fast-flowing rivers. And in those rivers, there were maze dragons, which are those giant water serpents that would just devour ships and humans alike. Mm-hmm. So everything was really dangerous and people were starving. But Reverend Grimme kept his people together and he even made them not resort to cannibalism because people were so desperate. But he would enforce it that nobody could eat human flesh and instead he would conjure food with his miracles.
Okay.
So he led his people to a place where he decided to found the city of Lost Angels. There he would make his own home, and the city prospered very much. There were a lot of people, and soon there were over 20,000 people in Lost Angels, I think. And up to this day, Reverend Grimme is in Lost Angels. He's having Mass every Sunday, and every Sunday there is a feast in his church. And even though the land is still very dry and there is very little food there for everybody, Reverend Grimme still makes sure that every Sunday there is a giant banquet of food for everybody who goes to his church. And there's a lot of people because they're hungry.
Oh, okay.
There was one incident some time ago where some demons would burst into the church windows and start slaughtering the people. But Reverend Grimme would defend the people and drive off the demons again.
Okay.
So that's the official story. Now to go to the Deadlands metaplot. There is no Reverend Grimme anymore. Reverend Grimme died very early. He was actually a good person, but when he led his people through the Great Maze, one night he was just eaten by cannibals. So that's actually where his story ends.
Okay.
But the Reckoners saw this great opportunity. So they, at night, had new flesh appear around his knot of bones. And so what then was still called Grimme is actually an abomination created by the reckoner who took the form of the apocalyptic famine rider.
Okay.
So the whole of the Great Maze and California and Gomorrah as well is part of the domain of famine. That's why there is so little food, because the crops will just die randomly to, I don't know, to some disease or something.
Okay.
And so famine used this new Reverend Grimme for his own purposes. And this new Reverend Grimme, he was a first-class cannibal. You know, he was leading his people through the Great Maze, and whenever they found other survivors, they would just kill them and eat them. So it was a very, very bloody way to Lost Angels, actually.
Okay.
And then even in Lost Angels, because the city was growing so fast, there were a lot of people, and nobody would notice if a few of them, you know, would disappear every week. So there could be a lot of nice mystery meat on the banquet of your church on every Sunday.
Okay, so I have to be aware what I eat in church.
Yeah, you need to be very careful. don't drink anything either. It's,
no transfiguration, or what is it called?
I don't know. Well, don't do it anyway. It could be human flesh. I'm just saying. You know. So yeah, that's the story. It's kind of grim actually, and kind of rough. But even this abomination Grimme noticed that when he wanted to keep this masquerade alive, he would need to appear to be a blessed person. Mm-hmm. So what he did was this incident with the demons that was staged. He was making this whole thing up with the demons. And when those demons came in there and started slaughtering innocent people, it was actually part of a big dark ritual. And this ritual allowed Reverend Grimme to cast his dark magic inside of his city, and it would look like a miracle. So when he was conjuring demons, it would look like he was talking to angels. And so now he can do those miracles in broad daylight, and it will look like actual miracles when, in fact, he is communing with like evil beings and Manitus and stuff. But he can only do it inside of Lost Angels, and I think a 75-kilometer radius. And that's Grimme. That's his story.
Do we have any Grimm stuff in Doomtown, in Gomorrah?
Not really. I don't know. What about this Maria Kingsford huckster who ran away from church? Wasn't she, you know, the one Sloane huckster? Didn't she have a flavor that was kind of related to her being a nun before she left?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I need to recheck it. I don't think it's actually related, but it could be, because the church of Reverend Grimme is very...
And what about the new sickness cards? Like Under the Weather?
Oh, this pestilence stuff. Under the Weather.
Mark of Pestilence?
Yeah. I don't know, because Mark of Pestilence is a huckster spell. So it's not really dark magic in and of itself. Anyway, this whole disease thing is very fitting for the California region.
Oh, wait, but disease is another rider, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn it. Yeah.
Shit. So, well, it's not the famine rider.
Nope. Ah, man. So much for the fluff. I think next time we might be talking a bit more about the Great Maze.
Yeah, because the bandits are from there.
Yeah. I actually found the 108 Righteous Bandits in the Great Maze sourcebook for Deadlands. And I think it would be a good topic to discuss, because on the internet I found a few people kind of complaining about what the hell are all those, you know, like shao-lin monks doing in Doomtown that has nothing to do with the Weird West. But yeah, we'll see. So we have one more topic, which is tutoring.
Yeah, so more technical topic.
Yeah,
for the card game
back
itself.
in the card game, in the bone section.
Yeah, so the tutoring effects in Doomtown, we have a few.
Yeah.
I think we have all here, or I have all in my hand.
I hope so. If we miss any, please let us know.
Yeah, so I think we should start with the two miracles.
I think so too. Maybe we should even kind of remind people what tutoring means.
Yeah.
Okay, so the term comes from a magic card that's called Demonic Tutor. which is a spell, and you just cast it, and it says, search your deck for a card, put it in your hand. That's it.
Yeah. So that's why it's called tutoring.
Yeah.
I actually never played Magic.
No.
I had one starter pack. That wasn't nearly enough.
No, not at all. But, when I was looking for tutoring cards, I wasn't so sure what actually counts as tutoring. Because I was kind of also looking at cards that let you look through your discard pile. Because I think it's kind of tutoring, maybe not in the most strict sense, because you're not actually looking through your deck. But in Doomtown, your deck and your discard pile are often about the same size, because you discard so many cards with your low ball and your shootouts. So I don't know. I put them in there. Maybe we should discuss if it's actually tutoring. So what do these two miracles do?
Yeah, okay. We have the first one. The Lord provides. It's an 8 of hearts, a miracle. It costs 2 to play. And its ability reads, Shootout Miracle 9, Boot. Boot this blessed to search your deck and or discard pile for an action card. Reveal it and place it in your hand. Discard the spell. It's a limited tutoring card, which is quite expensive.
It's very expensive. But I think it's also very strong, because one thing I always look for in spells is how do they interact with themselves in terms of the value. So in this case, we have a value 8 card that has a Miracle 9 check. So it means if you only play 8s and higher cards, then everybody who's blessed 1 at least is going to always be able to cast the spell. So it's that's an okay ratio.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And then it allows you to look in your deck and in your discard pile for an action card. And I think that is very important, because
you will definitely find it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, from the timing, you play it as a shootout action. So if you, for example, have still, let's say, a stud, which is standing, then you can look for pistol whip or...
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a stud.
It doesn't have to be a stud.
But yes.
Or if you are looking for...
like faster on the draw, for example.
Faster on the draw, or if you are planning to... If you have a standing stud, you can also use point blank. So you can really... Like, if you have action cards which have a difficult trigger, and the trigger condition is met, then you definitely can use these cards, which are stronger because the triggers are difficult to meet in the first place. So that's maybe why it's so expensive, because you can really mess with your opponent. And do you have to show it to your opponent? Yeah, I think so. Reveal it.
Yeah.
Because it has to be an action card that you... Okay. So it's not a big surprise anymore.
No. But still, I think, because we are kind of at the core of why tutoring is interesting. Because the very basic thing about tutoring is it allows you to put very specialized cards in your deck. Because those cards usually would just be very clunky to play, would clog up your hand. And with tutoring, you can just maybe even put one of those cards in your deck. And then when you really need it, you can get it with tutoring. So, especially in Doomtown, this has a lot of upsides. For example, you can play an action card that is very strong, but is totally not part of your draw structure. And usually, when that's the case, you maybe want to put 4 of those cards in your deck because it's so strong, but then that's 4 cards that are going to mess up your draw structure. So, in my blast deck, I have faster on the draw exactly 1 time in my deck.
Oh, yeah?
But I have the tutoring ability like 3 times. So I kind of have 4 cards in the game that can get me exactly this card when I need it. And it doesn't mess up my draw structure.
Okay, but you have to pay the extra price.
Yeah, it's
the iron price.
It's the iron price, definitely. And I'm not very sure it's a very good idea, because my deck hasn't been very successful with that kind of way. But it's thought. And the other thing is, which I know from Netrunner mostly, it makes it a lot easier to put silver bullets in your deck. Like, I have 1 card that is super strong against, I don't know, hucksters. And I have 1 card that is super strong against Sloan Rush. And you just have those different silver bullets, And, whoever you play against with this miracle, you can make sure that you find the right one. So it's a card. What's up next?
Jack of Hearts. For such a time as this. It's actually an Abraham Grothy.
It is.
With Avenor. You have to pay 1 for it. It's a miracle, and the ability reads, Noon, a miracle 9, boot. If successful, mark the town square for a job. This dude is the leader. If the job succeeds, search your deck and discard pile for a dude whose grid is less than this miracle skill check. Play that dude, reducing their cost by 4. That dude permanently gets +1 influence. Ace this card. Actually, it's quite strong.
It is. But it's so special, it's like there's so many conditions on it.
Yeah, so the conditions are, if you're successful, mark the town square for a job. This dude is the leader, so it's kind
of like recruitment drive.
Yeah, it's kind of like recruitment drive. Okay? But if the job succeeds, search your deck and discard pile. So your whole cards for a dude whose grid is less than this miracle skill check.
Okay.
So, whose grid, okay?
So this card is a jack, and the difficulty is 9. So that's a very good ratio, first of all.
Yeah.
And then
you have basically you cast it with the blessed 1 or 2, so
you have a lot of jacks in your deck. Let's assume you pull a jack. Then you have your blessed 2, plus a jack makes a grid of 13.
Which is a strong card.
That's almost every card, yeah. Well, actually not all of them, but a lot of good cards have a grid of 13 or less.
Yeah, and then you have and then you can ace this card too.
But you need to ace it, don't you?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Also, you could play it with Undertaker, which is also a jack.
No, but you have to ace a dude.
Yeah, but you can put this in your deck and Undertaker, and then when you actually use this miracle, you get 2 Ghost Rock.
Because Undertaker only works when you ace a dude.
Really? Damn it. Okay.
So, but pretty much the same, actually, or kind of, is the recruitment drive.
Yeah, which is a classic. I think it's from the core set, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it costs the same, 1 Ghost Rock. It's a 10 of clubs. And the ability reads, Noon job, mark the town square. If successful, put a dude or deed into play from your discard pile, reducing the cost by 5 Ghost Rock.
Yeah.
So this doesn't tutor your whole cards.
Yep.
Only the discard pile, which is not that bad in Doomtown. It reduces by 5 Ghost Rock, and you can also play a deed.
Yeah. So different tools for different needs, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. But actually, I think in a lot of my decks, recruitment drive was in it because it's actually quite strong.
Yeah.
When the problem is with both of those, I think that you have to make a successful job on the town square, which means you kind of need to be in an advantageous position, at least for shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I think it's a bit like a win more card.
Yeah.
Because when I can already win a shootout in the town square, I don't know if I really need more dudes to be even better at shooting, But it can be, you can just get a good timing off. Like every of your opponent's dudes is booted at home or something. And you just sneak by this recruitment drive. It's a very good feeling.
Also, you can put a high influence dude in to finish the game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like to put even more pressure, like the last bit of pressure you need to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is also the case with this one, because you get +1 influence for such a time as this.
Okay.
So then we have a special tutoring card for horses.
Yes. So good. Horse wrangling. It's a 6 of clubs. It costs 1, and you search your deck and or discard pile for a horse, and you may attach it to one of your unbooted dudes, but you have to pay its costs. It's not very good.
No. You remember my horse deck? It was very cool.
So the thing is, in this case, I think there is a conceptual problem with the card, because the cards you can get with horse wrangling are very limited, because the horses all kind of do similar things.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's rarely an instance where I think, I wish I had exactly this one horse.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's just, I need a horse because I have Lane Healy.
Yeah.
And I think in that case, before you put in tutor cards, you need to think really hard, why not just remove the tutor card and put in one more horse?
Yeah.
Because you can always play the horse, and the tutoring can sometimes be a bit awkward and it costs more. So it's...
And I think the horses are quite expensive. Maybe this is one use. If you want to use the 6s, and you want to, I don't remember the value of the horses, and you only want to use the really cheap horses, then this could be like 4 more cheap horses.
Oh, so you only play the 6s. I think 6 is a roan?
Is it the 2? The 2 cost horse? Or even the 3?
I have no idea. But you see, we play horses so rarely because I rarely have a situation where I wish I had more horses in my hand.
That's right.
Most of the time it's like, oh, I wish I didn't have 3 horses in my hand. So
So you have to have actually an anti-horse card, like a horse budger.
Ace of horse in your card, in your hand. Ace of horse in your hand, you gain 5 ghost rock.
Yeah, that would be
it's
cool.
called like a tasty steak or something.
That would be cool.
We need this card.
Horse butcher.
So tasty.
So okay, this is like the horse card.
Yeah. We have a few more. So what's coming up?
These aren't really tutoring cards, but yeah, we can go on. This is a new card. I think it's very popular these days.
Well, it's popular in my meta. Which means you play it all the time.
It's the Soul Cage. It's a Queen of Hearts. It costs 3 ghost rock. It is mystical. And it reads, Cheating Resolution, boot. Choose an abomination from your discard pile or boot hill with a cost equal to or lower than the illegal hand's rank. Put it into play at this location at no ghost rock cost. If this is a shootout, it joins your posse. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's very expensive, but it's really strong.
Yeah.
Because if you play this in a shootout, then the cheating hand rank of your opponent is probably going to be high.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be at least a 7, which is a full house, I think.
Yeah, full house. So it will be most of the time 4 of a kind illegal.
Yeah.
So you play an 8 and lower.
Yeah.
And this is the ghostly gun, for example.
Oh, yeah. So it's a cheating resolution because we had this situation a few times. You use this as a cheating resolution. Your opponent has a 4 of a kind and you have a 4 of a kind. You use the Soul Cage to get the ghostly gun into your posse. And then you use the resolution ability of the ghostly gun to increase your hand to a 5 of a kind.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disgustingly strong. It's so strong.
That's a cool ability.
And you can also use it at low ball, if you're kind of a bit lucky. You might just get, I don't know, maybe the Brood or Pagliaccio or something.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fun.
So, then we have another one. Actually, I never used the ability because it's really hard to use.
Yeah.
It's Richard Slavin.
Yeah.
He's a 10 of spades. A 1 stud, 1 influence, 4th ring guy. He costs 6 and he doesn't have any upkeep. His ability reads, Noon boot. If Richard is out of town, pull. If the pull is red, search your discard pile or boot hill for mystical goods and add it to your hand.
Whew, that's a lot of conditions. Yeah. So you need to have an out-of-town deed. You need to have Richard Slavin in the out-of-town deed.
Unbooted.
He needs to be unbooted.
Yeah.
And then you need to pull and it needs to come up red.
Yeah.
And
then there has to be a
mystical
good in your boot hill or discard pile.
Oh my god.
So this will happen only if I don't know.
It's very, but it's so fun and so thematic, because he's like this Indiana Jones character, and there was even this flavor story where he's like discovering some abandoned ghost rock mine that's full of harrowed dudes.
Yeah.
Because
and he stole the saber.
Yeah.
Stokes saber.
Oh, that was it. That was what he stole?
No,
I thought he got this mystical figurine first.
Yeah, that's what was the first one, and then he stole the Stokes saber, and he got the information from the bar guy. He is called from Sloan.
So for a guy that we never played, he has quite a lot of appearances in the fluff.
Yeah, definitely, he's pretty cool. I think he does this for Ivor Haley. He's working for him.
Yeah,
it's on his card, but the things he collects I think Ivor Haley collects them for somebody different.
Yeah, I think it was established in the fluff that Ivor Hawley has some kind of contract partner or somebody who's telling him what to do.
Yeah, but who is it?
We talked about it in the Hucksters episode.
I believe it's
because
the
it's
new
a
mayor.
Huckster. I think it's probably going to be some kind of money too. I think the whole circus is in bad with the money twos. It's really bad.
Or with the mayor.
The new mayor? Who's that?
The new mayor is, how's he called? The Lovecraftian.
Oh, it's Nicodemus Waitley.
Yeah, Nicodemus Waitley. And Nicodemus Waitley, I think, is the son of Ebenezer Waitley. No, that was wrong. of the Waitley who did some, in the first edition, some really bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think he's up to something. But that's not just my personal opinion. So
might as well be.
Let's take the next really strong tutoring effect. It's Fun Time Freddy.
So fun!
I really like this card. The artwork is great.
Yeah. Fun Time Freddy is a 3 of spades, 1 stud, 0 influence, abomination, huckster 0, and a grifter. He costs 3 to play and has no upkeep. His grifter ability is react, boot, at the start of the game, ace Freddy. And that's it. No, it's not it. Search your deck for 2 different hexes and reveal them. The player on your left chooses one to ace. Attach the other to one of your hucksters. Oh, it's so strong.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So I think this card is strong for several reasons. First off, you have a total guarantee that you're going to have a hex in your starting hand.
Yeah.
Second of all, you ace him and another hex. And probably both are not necessarily part of your draw structure. So if you look for Soul Blast and some other spell, and the Soul Blast gets aced, you're not so sad because it's an ace.
Yeah.
And it's out of your deck, so you can't pull the Soul Blast anymore and fuck up your spells. So it's just so good.
And you have all this abomination retrieval from the boot hill.
And he's a stud, for Christ's sake. So when you just imagine you have the perfect hand, and you have your Soul Blast and your Paralysis Mark and everything, you just don't use his ability, and you have a starting stud that's also a huckster. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's ridiculous.
And you have a starting abomination for all the effects like who conjure abominations. Because he's already in the dead pile.
Oh, when you ace him, you can like Raising Hell him, or Soul Cage him and stuff.
Yeah, or summon him.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's pretty cool. He's like an all-round card.
Yeah, it's very strong. And the last one in the pack is also 4/3.
Yeah, it's a new one.
It's Junior! Or Gollum. He's an ace of spades. 3 draw, 0 influence. He's an abomination, costs 5 to play, and 0 upkeep. Junior cannot be aced by card abilities. React. When Junior enters play during high noon, you may search your deck and discard pile for a non-gadget mystical goods and either ace it or attach it to one of your dudes in this location, paying all costs. Yeah, we haven't played with him yet.
No. But he is also good for the Soul Cage.
Yeah.
So when you Soul Cage him out of the boot hill, then you can use his effect, I think.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, and then you can retrieve some cool mystical goods. Another Soul Cage. Mm-hmm. You couldn't trigger that a second time because you can only trigger one cheating resolution per shootout round.
Yeah, that's correct.
But, and you have to pay for it all?
You have to pay the cost, yeah. So it can be expensive. I think the hard part is that you don't want him in your starting posse.
No.
Because his react only works when he's not in your starting posse. But then it's an ace, so when you play with hexes, it's one more card that is possibly going to mess up your important hex.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not very easy. But I think the stats are alright. No upkeep is okay.
And it's only for non-gadgets.
Yeah.
So because you could have some mystical gadgets.
Oh, and then
like the clown carriage or the
Holy Wheelgun,
or the Diable en boîte.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so that's all the tutoring effects we have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
Some are pretty strong, some are not that good. Maybe we should do a podcast about horses.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can hear, we can sing the song by...
Katy Perry, Dark Horse.
No. I'm a little bit older, so it's by Tori Amos. Horses. That would be cool. And we have to sing it with high-pitched voices.
We're gonna do this, totally.
So
I think it's interesting that in the tutoring effects, you have, on the one hand, tutoring is kind of a thing for blessed, because all the spells that let you tutor stuff are miracles. And then most of the other stuff is all this kind of mystical goods and abomination shenanigans that Fourth Ring do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
because they are searching for the mystical goods, it really fits well.
Yeah, it's very nice
thematic,
themed. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think this is the good part in Doomtown, that Reloaded, that the effects are really tied to the story.
Mm-hmm. Very strongly, yeah. But my thesis is that we are not yet in a stage where tutoring is very important. Because I cannot think of a lot of silver bullet cards that you need to have in your deck, but don't want to have in your deck 4 times because they are just against, this very specific opponents.
Yeah, because it's a really healthy game so far.
Yeah, I think so.
So, at least in our mini meta.
Our 2-person meta is perfectly healthy. We have one more thing that we need to talk about, which is our fun giveaways.
Yeah.
Yay! Because we designed a playmat.
A Booted Dude playmat.
Oh, yes.
From our Doomtown Reloaded podcast.
And we want our listeners to have at least one of those playmats. So there's going to be one more Decklist competition. And whoever wins the lottery on that one is gonna actually have a complete playmat sent to them worldwide. And it's a lovely playmat, if I might say so.
Yeah, you designed it.
So I think I'm gonna provide the show notes with a link to the design of the mat, so people can have a look at it if they like it. It's a very simple design. There is the booteddudes logo. There is also the hand ranks in the bottom left corner, because I think that's what's missing on most of my playmats, at least, because I still don't know every card rank by heart. It's so hard.
I have always to look up.
Yeah. So if you want to win one totally custom booteddudes playmat, all you need to do is send us a deck list of yours that involves blessed guys and miracles in some way. And if you feel like it, tell us why your deck is interesting or how you like to play it.
Or which sheriff event you won with it.
Yes, if you're one of those people,
yeah.
Of course. And we are going to randomly select one of the decks that were sent in.
Yeah.
And the lucky winner is going to get a playmat to his doorstep. So we hope there's going to be a lot of entries. And also, whenever you feel like it, just let us know anything you want to say about the podcast, or maybe anything you want to say about your local meta, maybe when your next events are going to go down. We're always happy to read out reader mail. There's been a lot reader mail for some time, and then in the last month, I don't think we received a lot. So if there's anything on your mind, send us a mail at booteddudes@gmail.com.
Yeah. And the next episode will be?
The next episode is gonna be the Faction Pack episode.
Yeah, we are so late.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the thing is, we're still looking for the Faction Pack. We've already sent out Richard Slavin to get us one of the faction boxes. Yeah. But he's out of town and booted right now, so...
So we have to get unbooted and
and
raid our custom internet trader or what.
Yeah, it takes ages. Whatever. This is us signing off. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please send in your feedback to booteddudes@gmail.com. We will read out your questions or comments on future episodes. Music used with kind permission from Wellbad. You can find his music on Spotify, www.wellbad.de, or facebook.com/wellbadmusic. If you like our podcast, please subscribe to it on iTunes and or write an honest review, ideally with text, because it helps other people find the show online. We'll meet again tomorrow at high noon.